This is Teachable Moments with April podcast, and you guessed it, I'm your host, April. If you're a returning listener and a part of the Teachable Moments with April podcast family, welcome back. For those of you who are checking me out for the first time, well, hello and welcome. To everyone listening, look for the teachable moments that are all around you. Enjoy. Daily prayer for your children. Dear God, another day is ahead, and once again, I want to release my children, who I love so incredibly much, straight into your tender care, because I know that that's the best place they could ever be. Thank you in advance for all that you have in store for this day, for this season, and for their entire lives. In your Son, Jesus Christ's name, amen. This prayer is courtesy of Crosswalk.com. Deliverance from Egypt to Israel's first king. Moses led the Israelites from captivity in Egypt to Mount Sinai, where God gave them his laws. Later, Moses sent 12 men to spy out the land of Canaan, but 10 of them returned with a bad report. They caused the people to want to go back to Egypt. For their lack of faith, God punished the Israelites by having them wander for 40 years in the wilderness. Finally, Joshua was chosen to lead the Israelites into the land of Canaan. To help them take the land, Jehovah caused miracles to happen. He made the Jordan River stop flowing, the walls of Jericho to fall down, and the sun to stand still for a whole day. After 6 years, the land was taken from the Canaanites. Beginning with Joshua, Israel was ruled for 356 years by judges. We learn about many of them, including Barak, Gideon, Jephthah, Samson, and Samuel. We also read about such women as Rahab, Deborah, Yahil, Ruth, Naomi, and Delilah. In all, part 3 covers 397 years of history. This is Bible Stories for Kids, story number 37, A Tent for Worship. Now I want you guys to envision a building, a very grand building. Can you make a guess on what we've learned so far about God's people as well as our God, Jehovah God, what it might be for? What do you think that this special building or tent might be for? Well, it's a special tent for worshiping Jehovah. It is also called the tabernacle. Now, the people finished building it 1 year after they left Egypt. And do you know what ideal it was? Whose ideal it was to build it? Can you guess? It was Jehovah God's ideal. Now, when Moses was up on Mount Sinai, Jehovah told him how to build it. He said to make it so that it could easily be taken apart. In this way, the parts could be carried to another place and there be put together again. So when the Israelites moved from place to place while they were in the wilderness, they carried the tent with them. If you look inside the small room at the end of the tent, you can see a box or a chest. This is called the Ark of the Covenant. It had 2 angels or cherubs made of gold, one on each end. Now God again wrote the 10 Commandments on 2 flat stones because, as you remember from the previous story, Moses had broken the first ones. And these stones were kept inside the Ark of the Covenant. Also, a jar of manna was kept inside it. Do you remember the story about the manna
And what manna is? Now, Moses' brother Aaron is one that Jehovah chooses to be the high priest. He leads the people in worshiping Jehovah, and his sons are priests too. Now, if we look closer at the bigger room of the tent, it is twice as big as the small room. And then we see a box or little chest with some smoke going up from it. This is the altar where the priests burn some sweet-smelling stuff that is actually called incense. Then there is the lampstand that has 7 lamps. And the third thing in the room is a table. On it are kept 12 loaves of bread. Now in the yard of the tabernacle there is a big bowl or basin that is filled with water. The priests use it for washing, and there is also what is the big altar. Here, the sacrifices of animals are burned as an offering to Jehovah. The tent is right in the middle of the camp, and the Israelites live in their tents all around it.
You were just listening to Teachable Moments with April podcast. I truly hope you enjoyed this episode. We invite you to stay connected with us on our other social media platforms: TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, and now Rumble. You can also leave us feedback in 3 ways: in the Interact features section on the Spotify app, voice messages to the podcast through our customized link, or at teachablemomentswithapril@gmail.com.